Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Billion Dollar Movie Club. I am Christian Simpson, and with me as always,
Juan Meta.
Pawan Meta. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Hello. Now, Pawan,
Yes.
as someone who's been on the show for 14 weeks,
Been
I think this is the
14
14th.
weeks?
I think this is the 14th episode. You know that this is the Billion Dollar Movie Club, where every week we go and look at movies that made money,
Made a certain amount of money, one would say.
and we really just question the financial decisions of the world.
Including the studios behind them sometimes.
Yeah. Occasionally we have one where like, oh, this was worth the money. But this week we have the film The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey,
Yes.
The Unexpected Journey,
And
An Unexpected Journey.
there's more
Oh,
unexpected journeys that exist. This
Wow.
isn't the definitive one.
Well, this Unexpected Journey began on December 14th, 2012. It was released in the US and domestic markets. I read that the budget is somewhere between 200 million and 315 million.
It's pretty small considering the franchise.
Small? Those are the biggest numbers we've seen so far, I believe.
Really?
315 million?
I thought
Is gigantic.
Pirates had more.
I believe those two were filmed back to. Oh, you're right. It's on Stranger Tides. Still, they say there were rebates that made it less than 315 million. That's still a giant number. It opened at number 1 in the box office with $84 million. It would lead the box office for 3 weeks in a row until it was dethroned by Texas Chainsaw 3D. Everyone's favorite film. Texas Chainsaw 3D.
I assume that was a January horror release.
Yes, it ruled the final 3 weeks of December, and then in January we saw Texas Chainsaw 3D, and then Zero Dark 30. Its opening weekend crushed. Well, it didn't crush, but it defeated the. It's like 4 million more. It defeated the record of highest December weekend. Up until that point, it was I Am Legend.
Way to temper your wording, just immediately.
Well, I was like, it broke a record, but I was like, it barely broke the record. Here's a press release from Warner Brothers on March 3rd, 2013. The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey crosses $1 billion and still climbing. The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey has surpassed the $1 billion milestone at the worldwide box office. To date, the blockbuster has earned $301.4 million domestically, with its release in China, where it grossed 37.3 million in 10 days. The film has earned a staggering estimated 700 million internationally for a global total of $1 billion to date. It would go on to gross $303 million domestically and 1.017 billion worldwide. At the time, it was the 42nd highest grossing domestic and 14th worldwide. It currently sits at number 87 domestically and 45 worldwide.
Guess it didn't climb very high.
No. It's like that scene in the movie where they think they're on this mountain, but then they fall.
That is a scene in this movie. Well, first, let me explain a brief history I have with this film.
Professor Pawan.
Because I was extremely excited for this movie. I was hyped in the lead up for this movie. I had just come into high school and I was like, yo, Lord of the Rings is back. It's back. That doing the Hobbit is going to be great. It's going to be great. And then I saw the movie.
Nice. I didn't watch it when it came out, but I remember it coming out and me being like, oh, let me read these books before it comes out. And I borrowed it from the library, and I think I read 1 page and never finished it.
I have only read The Fellowship of the Ring, and that was because I took a speed reading class in which we read the first half of that book.
I feel like a speed reading class can only do so much with those books.
How so?
I don't know. I assume they're very long books.
Not really.
Okay, well, I retract that statement.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw this one in theaters. I
Have,
didn't see the second one in theaters.
did you watch it again after that initial viewing, or is this your first time revisiting it in 8 years?
I think it's my first time revisiting. I
Oh,
didn't see
oh.
the second one in theaters.
Did you see the second one at all?
I did.
I see there's no mention of the final film.
I did see that one in
Okay.
theaters. Yeah. But yeah, the
So your initial thoughts with this movie?
another thing I'd like to add is
Alright.
I remember in high school I used to say whenever I feel like exploring the building, let's go on an adventure.
I don't remember this, but go on.
Just that, like whenever it's like, you know what, let's not sit at this table. Let's go on an adventure. Let's walk around the building.
What does this have to do with this movie?
Well, they went on an adventure in this movie, and that's partially
Ye-
what inspired.
Okay.
Like when Bilbo's leaving the Shire, he's like, I'm going on an adventure.
I could see how that connects now. I don't remember you ever saying this, but that sounds like something that would happen.
Yeah, so that's my history with this film.
Mhm. I never watched it.
Oh,
I
you
have
still
regrets?
haven't?
Do I have regrets? Almost. Let's get into it. It's a movie.
It's almost 3 hours.
Yeah, that's a lot. I had you know how when we were talking about Avatar, I was like, it's well done. I don't like it. It is like that, but without the cool visuals. I feel like everyone's firing off, everyone's doing solid, adequate work,
Oh,
but
right.
nothing
Before we go
builds
on,
to anything. Whoa,
before we go on,
we got something.
I have a
Breaking
quiz
news.
question for you.
I feel like we could have done that later, but okay.
I want you to name all
14.
13 hobbits.
Are there 13 hobbits?
There are 13 dwarves. My
I was
mistake.
gonna say. Okay. You said 13, right?
Yes. Without
Yeah.
looking it up.
I have 10 fingers, so we'll just do like a little 10 and then back to 3. Wishna, Gorgon,
Are you even trying?
Jeremy. I don't know any of their names. I don't know any of these people's names.
Not even the king who was dethroned?
Charlie.
I'll give you a hint. He's known as Blank Oakenshield.
Yeah, no, that was not a hint. Are we doing the riddle portion of the movie? I don't want to spend 30 minutes of this podcast on a riddle.
There's Gloin, Oin, Ori, Philly, Dory, Bomber, Nori, Dwalin, Ballin, Beefer, Bofer, Killy, and Thorin.
I didn't realize Ellen DeGeneres was in this movie because I didn't realize Dory was a character.
Well, I mean, it's a fun thing where it's like there's so many of them that's like with the rhyming names. It's like you're not expected to remember everyone's names.
Well, that's one of my first problems with this movie is the never-ending list of characters, and I never was able to like grab onto anyone. Sure, they focus on like Bilbo and whatever the king dude's name is, but like I love me some good supporting characters, and no one had an axe. No one had a cool bow.
So, I'll say my favorite part of this movie.
Okay.
The first 40 minutes before they leave the Shire.
Are you including the unnecessary Lord of the Rings Elijah Wood insert?
Yeah, sure, because that like establishes the Hobbit story.
You could have
In
just done opening
context.
narration and gone straight through. It felt unnecessary and fan
I mean,
servicey.
Fan service isn't necessarily a bad thing.
If when you have 3 hours You can cut stuff off, especially when nothing happens in this movie.
We'll get to that in a second.
All
But
right.
I really enjoyed the initial contact between Bilbo and the dwarfs. That
It's
first night was very nice.
it's silly and fun, but it never ends.
And I didn't want it to end.
The part of the amazingness of that original trilogy is the scope and the world and getting to see everything. And you don't see anything when you're in Bilbo's house for 40 minutes.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's the only time where you really get a sense of the dwarves as characters.
Sure.
And I really enjoyed the chemistry and the rowdiness of their characters.
I'll give you that. Like everything else in this movie, I think there was too much. Again, I don't think it was poorly done. I just like just happened. It just was.
I mean, that's the only sequence I'll outright say I loved in this movie. I just had a lot of fun with that. How the banter and how Bilbo was just like, "Oh no, my things."
It was fun, but then there were moments like they'd start singing, and I'm like,
You didn't like the singing?
this is the first thing you cut out of like an adaptation of a book. It dragged the pacing. It I don't know what it did other than the camaraderie, but also like they sang like 2-3 times in the first 40 minutes. One time's enough.
They sang 2 times, and
I said 2, 3.
they were drastically different tones.
Point. You know I love a musical. You know I love a good song and dance. I did not like it.
Like, come on, how are you gonna hate on the song that becomes the theme for the movie?
Was it the theme? Was that the end?
Yes.
During the end credits?
Yes.
I didn't piece that together.
It was the same song from the acapella thing that they did, where they, not the stomp rendition of a, not the stomp song, it was the other one.
I don't remember what this stomp song is.
It's the one where they were doing the dishes. That's the thing that Bilbo
It
hates.
was fun when they're like throwing dishes at each other, but then I'm like, why? What am I?
Okay, let's move on.
It established them as a group, but you don't know them by themselves, and it just felt scattershotty.
So I don't know if you necessarily need to do that. Establish them as individuals,
I guess.
because it is about the group working towards this goal, not the individuals who make up this group, which is where the later films, in my opinion, kind of falter a little bit by singling out specific dwarves who are made to look more human-like
Okay.
and dreamy.
Is Patrick Dempsey also in the sequels? He went from Transformers to The Hobbit.
Like
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. I haven't seen the sequels, so those are all on your
it's they're vastly differently paced and toned films.
interesting.
This is the only film in the series where you actually do get that more childlike sense of whimsy.
It did feel much sillier than the original trilogy.
Yes.
Like I think of the weird, is it the orcs around the campfire that they're fighting? Who talk like they're out of a Transformer movie or like a DreamWorks movie, and there's like butt jokes and
I think they were trolls.
They were trolls,
mountain trolls or something like that.
And it felt so weird.
I mean, the one moment of supernatural things coming into the movie that felt really out of place for me were the giants.
The giants come in. Oh, I think that was what I was talking about. They're the ones who turned into stone, right?
No, no, I'm talking about
Oh,
the
the Rock
yes,
people. That was really weird.
because like it's barely established, and then it just happens, and then they just move on.
Yeah. And it feels so out of place with what's been set up from the first three movies, I
Yeah,
feel.
it's such a grander scale of being that just never gets brought up again.
Oh, it's just straight up not ever
No.
referenced. Well, that's a choice.
And like the thing is, like it's stitched together with the rest of the movie through like B-roll, so it really feels superfluous.
Yeah. This movie has a lot of sitting down and talking in the first two thirds.
Yeah.
And so when you do get like I was waiting for those glory shots of like the landscapes and beautiful scenery, and when we finally got it, it was all thrown together in that montage that led up to the rock giants. And they
Well,
weren't
you do get a bit more
mesmerizing.
of that in the Desolation of Smaug.
That's nice.
But
We're not talking
also
about that movie.
it it's weird how they paced these movies because this feels like so stretched out, but the second one so much happens in it.
I did notice the second and third ones are shorter than
No, but
this.
I also mean like in terms of plot development and moving the story forward.
Did you didn't ever read the original Hobbit, right?
No.
I'm gonna say, does it at least make sense that this was the first third, and then the second third is Smaug is second third, and Battle is third?
Well, the thing about that is, spoiler warning for the Hobbit movies.
Okay.
Smaug doesn't actually die at the end of the second movie. He dies at the beginning of the third.
That's an odd choice from the man who decided to delete all of Christopher Lee's films from the third film of the franchise, including his death. Cut out the death scene because, like, it doesn't fit. So we'll just ignore the character that was a big presence in the first movie.
But yeah. Um, it also it also feels like a lot of the events of this movie don't further the plot, but are trying to like. It's a lot of disconnected moments
Yeah,
as they're going on this adventure.
they felt like obstacles to sidestep rather than challenge and evolve the characters.
Right.
And so, like, yeah, there was no. I don't understand how Bilbo may be different, and yet the movie wants you to think he's different at the end.
He's not a coward.
I guess.
Oh wait, I just remembered another scene I actually did like.
All right.
I think you probably liked it too.
Which one?
Gollum.
I enjoyed it very much, but then again, it was stretched out way too long.
I enjoyed that sequence so much because it was one of the few moments where it felt like there was like clearly defined stakes and
Yes.
like very palpable moment to moment action.
Is Gollum in the Hobbit book, or is this something added for these movies?
Again, I don't know. I
You
haven't
don't
read
know.
it.
Because again, there's a bit of me that felt like maybe this could be fan service. I don't know the books, but it was executed well enough that it didn't bother me. But again, like rule of threes, but it could have just been two riddles in each. There's six entire riddles.
Nah,
I
I
don't
was
understand
game for
why.
every single moment of that.
I don't understand why
Because
Bilbo picked up the ring.
what
Are
do you
you
mean?
telling me? Are you telling me if someone 6 feet in front of you drops a tiny ring, you're gonna notice it?
Well, you're forgetting about the lore of the ring.
The lore of the ring. I
The
didn't watch that
lore,
one. I'm sorry. I
Lure.
know. I didn't watch that one. Is that the spinoff? Is that the dollar store bootleg version?
No, that's the porn parody.
Whoa.
But
I
no, I'm talking about in terms of like the ring literally calls people towards it. That was a thing that was established in Lord of the Rings.
I got a stronger sense of that in the Lord of the Rings than the Hobbit. So is it just relying on the audience knowing that based off?
It is. This movie was made for people who wanted to go back to Middle Earth.
And I got that sense.
Like, if you can come in as like someone who hasn't seen Lord of the Rings, but like you're not the target demo of
No, I
this
don't think.
film.
And as someone who watched the original trilogy for the first time 3 months ago, I was still kind of confused.
But yeah.
Like I don't understand why Bilbo said, "Yeah, I'm gonna follow them.
What do you mean?
I'm gonna join them on the adventure."
Because it's an adventure. He's tired of just staying in the Shire.
I didn't get the sense of him being tired of being in the Shire. Did I miss something?
Well, it was like the realization when he woke up the next morning. He's like, wow, that's the most excitement I've had in a while, and now it's gone. No, let me chase after it.
Okay. That seemed like a very sudden shift that didn't make sense to me. I will say, as we're on the topic of the Shire, and maybe it's because so much of it is in Bilbo's house, and it kind of goes on to the rest of the movie. The landscapes lacked tangibility that I remember feeling in the original trilogy.
I could see that, yeah.
I don't know if they started using more CGI or what, but it and there were moments where there were like this kind of glossy sheen on the movie, and
Well,
I
you
never
also
felt
have to
like I was in the
remember.
world.
You also have to remember that these movies released in the higher frame rate.
Sure.
And I don't know exactly how that might have impacted this particular like version of the movie, but that version did get a lot of complaints for looking very, very fake.
Oh, that makes it even worse. Because I would say, like, there were scenes that looked like they were in front of a green screen, and never, like, whenever they were riding an animal or something or chasing something, the backgrounds never meshed with the actors. And
So for the high frame rate version, it wasn't the like green screen or CGI that was the problem. It was actually the weapons. They looked like toys.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Do you know why Jackson wanted to do the
No.
no? He was like, "Oh, you want me to spend 3 years on these movies I don't want to do? Let me try something weird at least." No one else is going to give you the money to try out this cinematic experiment.
Should we talk about how this movie was produced a little
Sure,
bit?
I only know like very basic stuff. If you want to take over that,
So there was a big hullabaloo regarding the production of this trilogy.
hullabaloo.
Hullabaloo. So New Zealand, where these films are set, the actors went on strike before production of this movie started for more equitable wages with their American and like British counterparts because they were getting paid like a lot less.
Okay.
And basically Warner Bros was like, you know what? We could just film this somewhere else. And then New Zealand was like, oh no, we might lose the Lord of the Rings as our thing. So they wrote up they literally called it the Hobbit Law, which gave the acting guild in New Zealand less bargaining power in terms of striking and stuff like that. So they were cut up. Their ability to fight for more equitable wages was cut off from underneath them.
I will say that's not what I thought you were going to bring up when you're talking about the production of this, but that's also interesting.
Yes. So there is a bit of a mixed feelings with this trilogy, if to put it lightly, over there.
I thought you were going to bring up the fact that like Guillermo del Toro wanted to do the trilogy
Oh,
and for some reason couldn't.
I
And
don't
so
know
they were
about
like,
that.
"Hey Jackson, you want to do this?" You notice Guillermo's credited screenwriter on I think all three of them.
I saw him as listed as executive producer, but I didn't see screenwriter.
Uh,
Oh yeah, that
so
was
yeah,
another thing where like Del Toro did a bunch of like pre-production, and then like they threw in Peter Jackson, but like they kept the film schedule the same, so he had a lot less time for pre-production in this one than he did for the original trilogy.
all this proves to me is that this was very forced and rushed through.
Yes.
And if only they rushed through this first movie as well, because god damn does it keep going on and on. Oh, it reminded me of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Did you rewatch that for this?
I did.
Because I feel the most common complaint for that movie is that nothing happens and it's kind of them just walking around waiting. But at
I
least
actually liked that movie.
I like it as well. The difference is that you've spent 6 movies already with Harry, Ron, and Hermione. And so you know these characters and you're invested in those 3. You're not invested with these characters except for them eating dinner for 20, 30 minutes.
Hell yeah.
And not knowing which one's which. And they're kind
That
of,
don't matter.
again, it's just one blob. It's one blob moving around rather than characters to connect with. I also didn't like the prologue. That prologue could have been a movie in itself with so much shit happening.
I mean, to be fair, the way the first Lord of the Rings movie starts, it's the same situation.
Yes, but I don't remember. Oh, it is a very epic prologue, isn't it?
It is.
All I initially remembered from the prologue of that was the Gollum scene. But oh no, that's 2, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I mixed them up.
The first one is when all the kingdoms are uniting to fight Sauron to steal the ring from him.
Okay, I apologize. But I still don't like the Frodo of it all.
I don't know. It didn't last too long, and it was a nice little fan servicey thing.
I guess this did take this was right before the party scene in the first one, right?
Yes.
Okay, I want to make sure I understood that.
Though the one thing I question about that is how did he write all this within that amount of time?
Yeah. It was this weird thing watching it for the first time. Like, wait, is he writing this after the Lord of the Rings when Frodo's gone? No, Frodo's here. So he's still writing it. Doesn't Gandalf meet Frodo in like 5 minutes and set off the rest of that movie? I think you run into Frodo before the party. That's less time for you. There's time for you, Bilbo. Speaking of,
I actually just got a new way to fix the movie now.
Ooh, that's gonna be an exciting segment. That's all I'll say. Speaking of Bilbo, Martin Freeman, I enjoyed his performance.
He was all right.
There's a fun bumblingness to him. There's a moment when I get like a weird Jim Halpert vibe from him, and then I realize he's the original Jim Halpert from the UK The Office. It's like, oh, that makes sense. But I thought he did a solid job. I enjoyed his. I don't want to. How am I'm not a burglar. That's what he said. I think
he goes, I'm not a burglar.
Fun fact: Martin Freeman also played General Akbar in the Star Wars trilogy. Just ask him, tweet at him, "Hey, Martin Freeman, can you say it's a trap?" and go see what happens. It's astonishing how long his career has lasted.
Why do we keep bringing up Star Wars?
That just sounded like Akbar's voice right there.
So I took 2 notes while watching this movie. Only 2 notes. The first one I'd like to bring up is Gollum is Pokemon.
What does that mean?
I mean, the way he just kept saying Gollum, Gollum.
Oh.
He can only, like, when he gets too overwhelmed with emotion, he can only say his name. So he is Pokemon.
God.
And the other thing I had was I found it weird that a line in this film that I noted was true courage. This is like abbreviated. True courage is when to spare a life. It's like, damn, is Bilbo the Middle Earth version of James Bond?
When does he say that? I don't remember that line.
That was Gandalf when he was handing him the sword.
In like the caves where they find them, right?
Yes. Before they meet the elves.
I'm gonna be honest. During that scene, I was eating ice cream, and then it starts, and there's like some creepy, dirty sounds. I'm like, oh, I don't want to be eating ice cream right now. I don't know what they're gonna find. Are they gonna find like a shit lair? Is there gonna be like spider shit on
literal shit lair?
I don't know.
It's a lair where you keep your shit.
I was taken out by
in
that.
a sense, that is what it is.
Oh, because their shit was in the lair.
Exactly. It's like you could see any hidden like treasure room as just a shit lair.
Whoa. I'm gonna make a mental note of this and save it for later. I was also, this isn't the movie's fault, but fuck HBO Max.
For?
Like every 10-15 minutes, there's like, oops, something went wrong with HBO Max. Try again.
That happened with you too?
What happened with you? Because it's been happening to me like for the past week or two with HBO Max.
To be fair, it only happened with me with this movie. And I think it might have been my internet connection, but like
probably mine too. But happened like 6 times during this movie.
Bruh, I was literally like, there was 30 minutes left and it kept dying after like 2 seconds. So I had to like leave where I was watching it up there and watch it on this little monitor that's right next to me.
Damn.
Right,
it happened to me as Smog was about to open his eyes. I'm like, wait, this feels like the end. I was afraid it was gonna like restart from the top because it thought it was done with the movie and I'd have to fast forward. But no,
don't worry. There's 10 minutes of credits to like cover you for that.
Cool. But yeah, fuck HBO Max. It's been like 6-7 months. Get your shit straight, HBO Max.
I mean, at least it's not as bad as some other services. I've seen worse. Even in terms of like media players, I've seen much worse.
So fuck them too. Is that where we're okay? We landing on that.
Okay. So what else is there to say about this film?
I did kind of enjoy after they fall down the mountains and they were in that, like, is it like an orc lair? I don't know. This town underground. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I thought that was visually interesting, and you got all the different layers of all the different rope ladders and the caves, and I thought those characters are fun.
You know, one thing this movie is good at doing is giving you that roller coaster feel.
Yeah. Yes.
And I think in The Desolation of Smaug, there's one part where they're literally just riding down a minecart and like they have to kill the enemies that are like coming from both sides as they're just riding this shaft.
That's fun.
So it's literally a roller coaster ride that you're seeing.
Is there any specific action sequence in this movie that stands out to you?
I'd say there's a couple actually. There's the one where they're escaping from the orc lair, and there's like the bridge that they have to like navigate, and then like the orcs hop on and they have to jump off and cut it off before they could join them. And then there's the moment with the wargs, I think they were called, WARG, trying to like claw at the trees as they were like nearing their doom.
Okay. Do you think those moments will stick with you?
I mean, no, but like they were noticeable in the moment. I mean, that's too much of a loaded question. I don't think there's many moments that actually stick with me in terms of action.
That fucking Avengers Assemble moment.
I mean, that's a single shot, though. That's not action.
It's a moment. It's a moment, not a...
You said action.
I like the sequence when Hulk's like, "Oh, I'm always angry," and then punches the thing, and then it all crumbles down. Or like the weird kind of one shot when they go through all of them.
I'm good.
I don't know. That's just how I feel about this movie. Is that nothing landed on me. Like I saw it.
That's fair.
And it wasn't. It was okay.
This movie feels like a heightened travel log.
So like a heightened Green Book?
I haven't seen that movie, but
that's fine. You don't need
I'm not going to comment on that because that's a loaded question.
Do you not want to?
I will not fall for that trap.
Do you not want to go through the rest of Viggo Mortensen's filmography?
He was in that, wasn't he?
He was in it. That happened. Some things I'd like to point out. As we previously mentioned, Peter Jackson was the director again. A lot of his team from the original trilogy was there. The entire writing staff of the first ones, Fran Walsh, Philippa Boyens, and him joined with Guillermo del Toro for the screenplay on this trilogy. Howard Shore did the music for this, and the music was a standout for me personally. It starts off with the music up against the like Warner Brother logos and stuff. I was like, okay, I think this will be all right. And then it wasn't, but the music was good. Andrew Lesnie, who shot was the DP on the original trilogy, was the DP here. Jabez Olsen was like the assistant editor or second editor on the original trilogy and edited these ones. And then so much of the cast returns. Do they do stuff? That's up to interpretation. But you got Ian McKellen as Gandalf again. He's always great. You got who else is in this? You got Kate Blanchett pops up, and then there was a second one. I was like, wait, what does she do in these movies?
She's overpowered. That's why she has to be kept away from all the like dangerous moments where there might be any sense of tension.
But genuine question, what does she do in the original trilogy?
She's a badass, okay?
She like gives Frodo a prophecy, right?
She's too strong, man. She's too strong.
Hugo Weaving's back in this. Christopher Lee is in this. We mentioned Andy Serkis's Gollum. Question. So is it Rivendell when they meet up in the middle? Yeah. And this goes into a previous concern I had. Did it also feel too artificial and not tangible and tactile like it did in that original trilogy?
I don't know. It felt like there weren't many moments where you see the scale of the city overall.
I swear there are many shots where it'd be like most of the background is the sky. And that hit me like, oh, they're in front of a green screen. And there was that part where they're like on a waterfall or something.
I think it's supposed to be the like pretty much the exact same location from Fellowship of the Ring,
Okay.
where they have that conversation about who should bear the responsibility of holding on to it.
But that wasn't that when they were all around the table in Lord of the Rings in Fellowship?
Yes.
But there's a scene in The Hobbit where they're on like a waterfall, isn't there?
Okay, I'll be honest. There were moments where I might have been close to dozing off
Okay.
during this movie.
That's why I had ice cream, because I was like, I need something. But then someone says something to the moon, and I swear they said Sailor Moon. But they couldn't have, right? But then the moon like shines light on them or something.
Oh, they were needed the
Sailor Moon and Sailor Jupiter and Sailor Venus to help them out.
Yes, because the glyphs, moon glyphs, where
glyphs.
Where you can only see the hidden writing under the light of the moon that is the exact same moon as the time it was written. And it just so happens, hey, tonight's the night. Hey.
She's the one named Sailor Moon.
Did you ever actually watch that show? I haven't.
I did. As a child.
I didn't with that one.
Huh.
Part of me wants to go back and see it. Maybe.
I'm sure there's something to it. I don't remember anything of it except for the theme song just popped in my head.
I mean, there's that one meme where like there's the masked dude where he's like, my work here is done, and then he leaves, and then Sailor Moon is like, but you did nothing.
I have a question for you about these movies.
Mm-hmm.
The orcs, right? The orcs.
They talk like this. I just want to do the voice for a second because it's fun to do the voice.
Were they CGI in this movie? Because they were like the makeup and prosthetics in the original trilogy, right?
I think there was a little bit more of a mix in this one.
Okay. Because they also felt off, and especially the giant ones at the campfight. I don't know if those are orcs. I don't know what those are. What are those?
Listen,
sorry,
I just thought you might. I just don't remember.
But you know what I'm talking about? The ones that turn to stone. Like
those weren't orcs. Those weren't orcs. I remember that much. Because those were a different being.
For some reason, they reminded me of Snoke from the Star Wars sequels, and I don't know who that's an insult to, but I think it's an insult.
Okay.
I'm just going through my notes. I really just don't have anything more to say.
Well, again, it's because this movie is more like a bunch of disconnected non sequiturs as they're going to their location.
I do like
once in a while you'll get some fan service or like, oh, hey, those people are doing a thing to help these people out, but they're from the original movies. Hey. But like that's mainly what this movie was, mostly fan service, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But it is indulgent to the point where I'm like, these also got extended editions?
Wait, they have extended editions of The Hobbit? Question for you.
And the third Hobbit movie extended edition is rated R.
Whoa.
For some violence.
I freaking hate the rating system for movies.
I just love how it's like you give it like the second harshest rating. It's like, it's got some stuff in it.
Some violence. Not a lot. It's kind of just like divide, no lengths, but still some. Is it me, or did Jackson use a lot of slow-mo during fight sequences in this one?
That's interesting because I wonder how that works in the higher frame rate.
But that's a good point. Because that would affect that, right?
Yeah,
see.
because how slow-mo is done is you like film at a higher frame rate and then you like lower the frame rate to like stretch it out.
Do you think that's why? Because I don't. Were there a lot of slow mo fight moments in the original trilogy? I don't think, right?
Yeah, there were a couple.
Okay, they stuck out more in this one for some reason to me. That's interesting. And then also, so we watch these movies, right?
That is the thing we do. We watch these movies.
I don't know
Great
about you.
statement. Great statement. We watch these movies.
When I watch these movies, there's another part of me that's like, huh, how can I make this better? What can I add and change and play around with this, right?
Oh, we're already moving on.
No, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. But that's what I do when I watch these, right?
Okay.
So I'm watching this, and they're up in the trees, and Gandalf is whispering to a butterfly, and I don't know what's gonna happen. And so in my mind, like, whoa, would it be fucking hilarious if the butterfly called down the eagles to save them? And it happens.
Well, there you go. The movie's taking your advice, Miss Simpson.
What kind of dirt does Gandalf have on these eagles? You can call them whenever to do his bidding.
Well, because he's buddies with the animal wizard.
He's randomly thrown in. At first, I'm like, who are you? Where did you come from? Are you going to play it into this? Is this a flashback of sorts that I somehow missed the introduction to? But it comes back for one scene.
Again, it's one of those things where like most of this movie is just a bunch of disconnected moments, which is why it feels like not much happens.
Yeah.
Because there are things that are happening. It's just that
they don't feel consequential.
Yeah. Which I don't think is inherently a bad thing if that's the type of movie you're going for. You just don't tend to make those 2 hours and 50 minutes.
Yeah. It's okay. We had half an hour of riddles.
You know what? I enjoyed that sequence.
It was very fun at first.
I enjoyed it in its entirety.
It kept going.
Imagine how long that must be in the extended edition. Or maybe that's just one of the scenes where like they saw the full version of the movie and they're like, you know what, you can't cut that. You can't cut that.
This is too good. We need more circus. Throw in more circus. Does Gollum pop back in the later Hobbits?
I think he's there for another like big scene in one of them.
Okay. Because it's really weird the way he's left off, and it kind of feels like you could leave him off like that up until the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but also just feels.
But again, those are also movies I haven't seen since their release.
Sure, and thankfully we don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Well. Do you have anything? I don't have anything else to say. That actually went really fast. I'll point out the 3 Oscar nominations for this movie. I like to throw that. Nominations for visual effects, production design, and makeup and hairstyling, which again, it's not like it was a poorly made film. I can respect those nominations.
I don't know why when you brought up makeup and hairstyle, it's like, you know what, that is a very prestigious award. Suicide Squad won.
You know, everyone brings up that Suicide Squad win. And it's such a shame because that award was so special. You know, Suicide Squad won in 2016. And 3 years earlier in 2013, that was the category where they nominated Jackass Presents Bad Grandpa.
Wait, Jackass didn't win?
No, it lost to Dallas Buyers Club.
Oh, come on.
The story is they spent like $15 on the makeup and hairstyling for Dallas Buyers Club, and I guess that makes it cool, but I genuinely wished Jackass won
if
that.
Bad Grandpa won that.
Because
because we've been saying for years, Academy Award winning film Suicide Squad. It's a shame we can't say Academy Award winning film Jackass Presents
a bad.
Bad Grandpa.
At least it's nominated. And I will say, like, I remember enjoying that movie and the makeup was good. So I'm not.
Oh, you
against
saw it?
Yeah, I saw it way back when.
I don't think I've seen any of the Jackass movies.
That's the only one I've watched, and I enjoyed it. There's a little heart at the end of it that was unexpected.
Does the bad grandpa possibly become good grandpa?
You have to watch to find out. I forget, is that Bad Grandpa or Dirty Grandpa? I may have mixed those two movies up.
I think Dirty Grandpa is the one that's starring like
De Niro, right?
yeah.
I get those two mixed up because
Didn't they come out the same year?
I felt like they came out the same year.
You know, it's great how
It's
De
okay.
Niro's like has two parts of his career at this point where he makes like Scorsese films and then movies where he's just a grandpa and it's
Hey.
a comedy.
You know, The War with Grandpa, starring
Exactly.
Robert De Niro and Christopher Walken.
And Allie from Austin and Allie.
She's in that.
Yeah.
She's randomly in stuff. She's in Lady Bird for a bit. It's like, huh, good for you, Laura Morano.
Like she's a main character in The War with Grandpa, where I think she's supposed to be like
Is she the
De
war?
Niro's.
Is she the titular war?
No, she's with.
Wow. Oh, and the kid is a kid named War.
It's like War with. Come down here. I need to talk to you.
War with. Oh.
Whoa. You know, I bet that's how they fit it into the movie. War with, come talk with Grandpa.
Oh, so that's the titular line of
Yeah.
the. Oh,
Yeah.
they couldn't. It's not a hard one to say. Well,
Well,
Why
that
do
was
you
a
think
long
this-
digression.
why do you think this film made $1 billion?
You know, there's a reason why this film made $1 billion and neither of the other Hobbit movies. It's because they were riding the hype of Lord of the Rings.
And it's
And
very
like they squandered it. They squandered the goodwill with this movie.
yeah. It
They
doesn't
couldn't
help
carry it through.
that this movie is so forgettable. Part of me is kind of like, I kept thinking of Alice in Wonderland while watching this movie. Weirdly enough,
Well, it's because the CGI and like the dark hues of the forests and all that.
and with the animals, I didn't like the animal CGI in The Hobbit, but I remember watching that and being like, this is like they're trying to mix Alice in Wonderland with Lord of the Rings, and it didn't work. But at least
know
it felt like they were trying something. I don't feel like they were trying anything with this movie.
This movie may be unexpected, but it's not unforgettable.
I think it's unforgettable.
Wait, what? You just said it was forgettable.
Oh, wait. Did you say it was
Doesn't make
not
sense.
unforgettable? Did you say it was not unforgettable?
Yes.
Oh, it canceled out, and my brain couldn't process the canceling out.
My Simpson needs words explained to him out. That's what you're listening to right now.
Okay, so not.
Not
does
is
that
a
mean?
negative word. And
I
then
see.
when you say unforgettable, that prefix is also a negative. And when you have two negatives in a sentence, it
A
becomes
negative plus a negative equals a
positive.
negative.
No,
Wait.
no. It becomes a positive.
Oh, we have
When
to
it comes
times
to
it.
words, yes.
We times the words,
Yes, we times words.
not multiply. Times words.
We times words. That's why there's that great publication, New York Multiplication.
Oh, I love your piece in the multiplication. I will say it's interesting watching this. What is it? 2 or 3 weeks after Phantom Menace, and both franchise kind of have that similar box office wise status in that it was the first film after a long wait. It's the prequels, makes a shit ton of money, and then it's downhill from there. At least
there's a big difference between Phantom Menace and this one because like Phantom Menace had to re-release in 3D to get it. This one was released in 3D.
yeah, and that's why this one made $1 billion on its first release. And now, at least Star Wars, episode 3 made more than episode 2. I think Hobbit went down after this.
And at least the Phantom Menace, I can't say that they weren't trying things with this though, because they did go for a completely different tone.
But is that not all you can do when you can't do epic grand scope? You have to do it different.
Well, like you also have to think about the source material they're working with.
Okay.
Because the Lord of the Rings, that was like an epic tale of like this epic journey, whereas this book is more moment to moment sort of stuff.
Do you remember the later 2 films being a little more epic?
The reason why is because they veered further and further away from the book.
Oh, I was unaware of that. Okay.
Like in the second movie, they bring in Evangeline Lilly. I forget the name of her character, but she plays an elf.
Isn't she the dude's Hugo Weaving's daughter?
Yes.
She's still that, right? Or is she a different character?
Oh wait, what?
Wasn't she Hugo Weaving's daughter?
In this movie?
Oh, I'm thinking Liv Tyler, not Evangeline Lilly. I apologize.
No, yeah. Yeah, she's in that movie, and like she has a romantic subplot, love triangle thing going on. Yeah.
Triangle? With who?
Let me pull up which dwarf it was.
Because all of our favorite parts of the original trilogy was the love interest.
The funny thing is, if you look at a poster of all the hobbits, you can instantly tell which one it was because he's the least like dwarf like in his appearance.
The character?
Yeah. It was between Killy and Legolas.
Legolas shows up?
Yes, he does, and he wasn't in the books.
Good for you, Orlando Bloom. Get your money.
But that was a big part of the later 2 movies.
It's okay. We don't have to watch the later Hobbits, but we will get more Martin Freeman when we get to the MCU. He's in Civil War and Black Panther.
Wait, he was in... Huh.
So, that was a movie.
It was. Oh, also, one other thing about how this trilogy was made. So, it was initially touted as being a duology, consisting of only 2 movies.
Sure.
And the reason why that is because a lot of the producers who put money behind it, this undertaking of The Hobbit, was like they were getting money back off of the first 2 movies. So they made the 3rd movie so that the few people who would get money off of that would get more money.
That is Hollywood for you. So I can say that's Hollywood.
Not only fucking over an entire international film industry in New Zealand, but also fucking over their money men.
It's okay. Everyone was happy with what happened with that movie, right? So, Pawan, we have established this film far from perfect. How would you start off this week? I think it'd be best if you start off. How would you fix?
How would I
change
fix this movie? So I literally just forgot the moment where I said earlier in this recording that like, I just thought of a new way to fix this. Can you say something that might jog my memory?
Orcs, Martin Freeman.
No, of what we were talking about.
I don't know what we were talking about during that moment.
Oh, yes. So Bilbo is writing his memoirs in this movie.
Yes.
But the change I'd make to make it make sense is instead of writing it, he's proofreading it, and that's this entire thing. It's like him actually going about reading this thing that he wrote.
That'd be better. Hold up. Do you remember how I changed the Lord of the Rings?
No. Do you?
It's Frodo riding like Bilbo was, but it turns into Birdman. I forgot about that. Okay, keep going. Keep going.
You know what? Let's just make this a an hour-long movie and just spend the entire time in Bilbo's house.
I'd prefer that. I'd prefer
Because
that.
like you said, you brought up how like a big thing with the original trilogy was exploring the wider world. But like a really like important thing for the fans and like New Zealand they have the house where this was filmed as a museum.
Oh.
So like this is an important landmark for
I
fans.
see. I have a
I
question
was
for you.
glad to explore that deeply.
Would it then be more like My Dinner with Andre? What I assume that movie's like. I still haven't seen it.
My Dinner with Dwarves.
I'm sure that title will be fine. No one will dislike that title.
Oh,
That'll be fine. It'll age well.
yeah, you know, I would love to just see them. And as someone who has this quirk where like whenever I see someone's home, I'm like, I want to explore every inch of this place.
Oh, I
enjoyed seeing them explore every inch of that place.
Did you also? I think Bilbo's like, you don't want to see. You don't want to see what they did to the plumbing. And then you're like, huh?
I didn't want to see what they did to the plumbing.
How does plumbing work in Middle Earth? I never thought about that till right now.
Well, if they have dwellings, I think they have pipes.
Yeah. They do have pipes. You heard them sing those songs.
You know what? More songs, throw them in there.
Sure.
You know, like we got eerily close, but like we didn't have full on sea shanties.
Whoa. I'm on board for that.
So is there anything else I'd change? You know what? You share your things and I'll see if I can think of something that I might have forgot.
I think mine. Okay. So there's that story when Gandalf's like, oh, and the dude also invented golf. Which is like, what? Golf exists in this world? So I think when they first meet up with Hugo Weaving, they have to reconnect while playing golf. So there's a golf scene.
I just got an idea.
You go on. I want you to finish yours before I finish mine.
So you compared it to Star Wars Episode 1 earlier,
Sure.
Right? And remember how in that movie a big segment of it was dedicated to pod racing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
What if in this movie, to defeat the mountain trolls, they had to play a game of golf?
And they had to aim for like their eye.
It's like, if you best me at this game of golf, then you can eat my friends.
Wait, if your entire movie is in the dinner scene, when would they play golf to fight these mountain people?
No. Okay, then never mind. Scratch that. So Martin Freeman is like, I'm not gonna go with you unless you could best me at a game of golf.
Wow. Wow.
So now we also explore Bilbo's backyard. So we get to see the full scope of his dwelling.
It's crazy. We both complain about the length of this film, but then we add a golf game that'll make the film like 18 hours long.
Listen, if you put the length in the right places, it works.
Oh, it does.
Also, there's like a bunch of elements, going back to the analysis for a second, of like a bunch of things that are just brought up that's like, wait, that's like real world things that apparently exist here. Like they have contracts?
Yeah.
They have plumbing? They have James Bond references?
Oh, God.
Go on.
Okay, so you're done with your
Yes,
fixes, right?
yes, yes.
So yeah, my first fix would be the golf sequence with Hugo weaving. All right. Yeah, Hugo, you want to use your money's worth, right? Then there's a scene. It's around that bridge scene
Mhm.
when the big king orc man thing pops up, right? And he asks Gandalf,
What are you gonna do now, wizard?
and then I think Gandalf should say,
I shall pass.
and then they pass.
Wasn't your concern with this movie the fan service?
Yeah, but now I'm going full in. All right. And this is the fun part. Now,
It works because you're doing it.
oh yes. I have that brilliant mind, I guess.
It's like,
I
listen, we hate on these aspects of the movie because we ourselves didn't make it.
Now, you seem to remember it more. I don't remember the end credit song. Right. And I think
it was the song that was also in the trailer.
I think you need an end credit song to remind people about the movie, a big hit, because people seem to have forgotten it about when we get to Desolation of Smaug and Battle of the Five Armies. So you need
It's not a ballad, but like it hits. It hits.
I
That
think you need
song
a
hits.
Did it hit number 1 on the charts?
Listen, this ain't no shallow, all right?
It ain't shallow. It ain't a lose yourself. So I think you need a new, better song.
Wait, I'm sorry. What's Lose Yourself?
8 Mile.
Is that Mom Spaghetti, but
Yes.
like not Mom Spaghetti?
No. Yes.
Why would you want to listen to that?
I'm very hungry. I want some spaghetti. It's the
Yeah,
closest thing I got.
you'd listen to Mom Spaghetti by itself. You don't need to listen to whatever it spawned from.
So I think this film needs a new song. And who's big around 2012? Juan, you know I've fallen in a Taylor Swift hole recently. And unbeknownst to me, when I initially made this decision, Ed Sheeran did the song in Desolation of Smaug. And so I think, let's just have him do all of it. So I think Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran do the end credit song for this. Totally knowing what this movie is and making sure you remember about Desolation of Smaug. All right. And so...
But this is an unexpected journey.
No, but you need to remember about Smaug coming out because people seem to have forgotten. And so
I've
prepared
are
a
you going
little-
to play a little ditty?
I prepared a little ditty.
Are you going to use the Taylor Swift chords?
I will. Yeah, we know this movie's not so dope. I bet that you're wishing you'd watch Dargo. It's crazy. This movie's 3 hours and filled with dumb slapstick that's straight from DreamWorks Studios. You should know the next one, know the next one's better, yeah. We hope that the next one, hope the next one's better, yeah. Finger crossed the next one, that the next one's better, yeah. We're making the next one and more movies. Oh no. Cause one book's all that Tolkien wrote, but we'll give more slack to that rope. Oh, we've got a sequel made. The Desolation of Smaug. One book still has so much lore, and we've got Freeman signed for more. So don't forget the sequel named The Desolation of Smaug. We've got 2 more in the hole, and when 5 armies battle, go see in 48 frames The Desolation of Smaug. I think that's the end credit song there. And I think everyone will then watch Desolation of Smaug when it comes out in 1 year.
You saw Game of Thrones, right?
I did see Game of Thrones.
Do you remember that Ed Sheeran scene?
I forgot about it until you asked. Do you remember Game of Thrones? I was like, oh, I didn't realize the connection between all the great high fantasy from the century is Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran.
Who'd have known? Are those are the two main high fantasy series, right? Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, right now.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Game of Thrones. I mean, Lord of the Rings is more than just right now.
Yeah. I don't know. I was thinking about like there really weren't any other high fantasy franchises to be this big in the cinematic
I mean,
landscape.
they
since-
tried. They tried in the mid 2000s to late 2000s.
Yeah, but none of them. It feels odd that none of them really caught
Like,
on.
do you remember Aragon?
I do. That was also a young adult book, right?
Yeah, but a lot of them were more young
Sure.
adult aiming. Because that is mostly where the fantasy genre is aimed towards, I think.
It just was an odd thought that like none of the copiers seem to hit.
I love how from like the first line I was able to tell what song you were parodying.
Yeah. The desolation of Smaug. Did I have to look up how to say Smaug? Yes. Am I saying it right? I don't know. So,
But like you got to be careful. Taylor Swift, please don't copyright strike this video for having the chords to your music.
I'm so sorry. I know I
like,
I didn't mess up at all while doing that.
But like we understand that this may not necessarily fall under the guise of fair use because
doesn't this count as parody?
so for parody to actually factor in, you have to be talking about the song itself.
Oh, okay. So
Like
apologies.
making fun of the song itself. So in fact, most of Weird Al's songs don't actually fall under fair use in that guise either.
Interesting. Thankfully, I'm as respected as Weird Al.
Thankfully, you're too small for Taylor Swift to notice.
That just makes me sad. Now, Pawan, I think we've done enough to make this film so much more interesting and memorable. But you know, our opinions mean nothing in the field of art.
That's why Taylor Swift doesn't know who we are.
Pawan, it's time to rank this film with science.
Statistics, numbers, crunching.
Do you see the list?
I do. It is very narrow.
Is it very narrow? If I widen it, then the light. Yeah. Oh well. What can I do? All right. So, Pawan, list. We'll recap it in a bit once we rank The Hobbit. As we do, let's flip a coin to see who.
I'm
picks.
heads. I'm heads.
So if it's heads, then you're gonna be asked about the ranking. Yes.
Yes.
All right. Tell me when to press it.
Press.
The coin is flipping, and it lands on heads.
Here we go, baby.
Pawan met them. It's time to.
After like 6 weeks.
All right. So, starting off with last week's at number 1, Skyfall. Pawan, do you like this film better or worse than Skyfall?
I mean, what would we do if I said it was bad?
That'd be quite the change, quite the shocking turn of events. Do you like this better or worse than Skyfall?
I like it worse, but now I'm curious, what would we do?
Do you like it better or worse than Lord of the Rings: Return of the King?
I like it worse. I thought it would have been really funny if I just said that.
That would have been cool. Oh, do you like this better or worse than Titanic?
Worse.
Do you like this? Do you like The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey better or worse than Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2?
That's a tough one, actually. I'll go with worse.
All right. How do we proceed from here? Do you like it better or worse than Avengers? I guess we'll take it from it. Do you like it better or worse than Avengers?
I liked it better than Avengers.
Wow. Huh. All right. So Avengers is what, 31?
27 to 31.
right,
So between 28 and 30.
the min of 28 and the max of 30. We're going to put into the Numbertron Golfinator. And
Let's hit some eyes.
1, 2, 3, go. Number 28.
Number 28.
The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey is the 28th greatest film to ever make $1 billion. I was going to type while talking, but it's very hard to do that. Especially when you still aren't 100% certain what the title of this movie is.
Damn, that's a title. Hey,
all right,
that's a title.
To recap, at number 47, Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. At number 46, Alice in Wonderland. At number 45, Toy Story 3. 44, Avatar. 41, Transformers Dark of the Moon. 37, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. 34, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. 33, The Dark Knight Rises. 32, The Dark Knight. 31, Marvel's The Avengers. 28, The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. 27, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. At number 21, Dr.
Tied for number
How the
21.
Grinch Stole Christmas, tied with We Don't Know, to be determined. At number 19, Titanic. At number 3, Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. And at number 1, Skyfall. What a list.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the $1 Billion Movie Club.
I will say this is the end of the 2012s. But we had 4 films, 5 if you want to count Star Wars.
We survived the Mayan Doomsday.
We did. Good for us. We survived the Doomsday again.
I mean, I don't know if we survived the one we're currently going through, but
I meant the Mayan Doomsday.
We survived that Doomsday.
We did. I also survived the day Doom was released in 2016. I survived that Doomsday.
Did you survive all the Doomsdays though? Like, did you survive the Doom Eternal Doomsday?
No, because that day is eternal. It took us a while, but we got a video game reference in there somewhere. Thank you again.
I mean, we could talk about like the Lord of the Rings games that came out around the time of these movies or slightly after it. Shadow of Mordor is supposed to be good.
Oh, I did it. I enjoyed both Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War.
Did you play Shadow of War after they got rid of the microtransactions?
Yes. That affected a lot. So thank you for joining us. Shout out to Maximus Machio as always for the art.
For the art.
Shout out to Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran. I don't know. I think that's all the shout outs. Join us next week for the feature film Jurassic Park.
Is this our first Spielberg?
I believe this is the only Spielberg.
This is our first official and only Spielberg.
Oh yes, there was an episode 0, which who knows what happens. But I believe this is the only Spielberg to hit the billion, thanks to a re-release in 2013.
I'm surprised AI isn't on the list.
I'm surprised the BFG isn't on the list. Or Bridge of Spies.
Damn it, I was about to say that.
Hey, I don't like that movie. Mark Rylance is freaking good in that movie. So if you would like to join us in our conversation of Jurassic Park, it is currently streaming on the Peacock streaming service. Because that's the reality we live in right now.
Peacock.
The Peacock streaming service.
Do you like NBC? Would you like to give NBC your money? Try Peacock.
How many seasons of The Office do you need? Do you need all 7 seasons, or can you just rewatch the first 2 over
7,
and over
I
again?
thought there were 9.
Oh, you're right. And the 7 is when Carell leaves. Did that statement make it obvious how I feel about season 8? I enjoy season 9.
The Office is a show.
So yeah, if you want to watch Jurassic Park, go watch it on Peacock.
Maybe it's available for free. Who knows?
Yeah. God. All right. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Good day.
Gollum. Hello, everybody. I'm here. I'm here. I'm waiting. I know you've been waiting quite a while for this one. This is a big one. Or is it? Who knows? It sure is unexpected. I didn't see it come, but I did, though. And I was expecting it to be a little bit more unexpected, if you know what I mean. Hey. Hey. Hey.